morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, with the World Championships about a week away, it is time to talk about a Pokemon card that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's Tropical Beach. I did a video recently, why is Landorus so expensive? And that video went down rather well, and a whole bunch of you went, we'll see. Could we have some more of these videos? And my very first thought was Tropical Beach, though it's taken me a little while to get here. Tropical Beach is a very expensive card. To put it into context, the most recent one that sold on eBay just sold for $300. What's even weirder is that people are paying upwards of $100 for digital copies of this on PTCGO, and people are even spending over $10 for the theme deck versions, the World's Deck versions, which aren't even legal for tournament play. And incidentally, a huge note before we probably get going here. If it is an English or European language card with a grey border that is signed, it is not legal for tournament play. You want one with the yellow border. The Japanese border is silver, grey. I'm colourblind. But it is also not signed. So be very, very careful if buying one of these. People will try and sell you the World's Deck version. It just comes in the world-winning decks. The little promo products they do. It's not legal for tournament play. Please don't be sucked in. Now, there are actually two versions of Tropical Beach. There is the 2011 version and the 2012 version. You see, if you qualify for the Pokemon World Championships and you turn up to participate, you get given a swag bag. And one of the coolest things in the swag bag is you get a promo card in 7 different languages. There are 6 European languages: English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese, along with Italian. Cool. Now, most of the time, these Worlds promos aren't particularly playable, but for 2 magical years in 2011 and 2012, you got Tropical Beach. You, in fact, got 7 copies of Tropical Beach. Now, here's where it gets awkward. Because in the Pokemon trading card game, you can only play with cards that are in your home language. That means that if you are playing in Europe, you can use any European language card. In Mexico, you can use English or Spanish. In Canada, you can use English or French. In the USA, you can only use English language cards. So if you're in Europe, you get 6 European languages, you have 1.5 play sets. You can only have a maximum of 4 copies of any card in your deck. But if you're playing in America, you only have 1 copy that you're allowed. Now, there were a couple of other prints of this that complicate matters a little bit. Firstly, and far more widely available, there were staff cards. You see, lots of lovely people give up their time to work at the Pokemon World Championships, either judging or just helping out or doing a myriad of other things. And those people generally get rewarded with a staff card, that is to say, a copy of that year's World Championship promo with staff printed on it. So there were actually more English language versions of Tropical Beach than any other language, because all of the staff cards given out were in English. Now, there was another way to get extra Tropical Beach, but you had to get top 32 or above. Because if you made top 32, you got a couple copies stamped top 32, and then if you made top 16, you get a couple stamped top 16, and so on. So if you made it all the way to the final, you'd have a bunch of these. But your average player would go to Worlds, get 1 English language and 6 others in their pack, and that would be it. So already, English language versions of this card especially are rare and are sought after. They're only given out to people who qualify for Worlds, and you only get 1 of each language, but as I've explained, English is the most sought after because it is literally the most playable. It is legal to the largest number of players. But you see, this was never an issue before Tropical Beach came out, because the Worlds promos were always really cool, they just weren't very good. I mean, since Tropical Beach was given out in 2012, we have had a run of 6 years in a row with Champions Festival, and I'll be honest with you, if I had to guess, I think they're going to make it 7 this year. And Champions Festival is fine. It reads that if you've got a full bench, if you've got 6 Pokemon in play, you may heal 10 damage from each of your Pokemon. It's alright in terms of healing, but it's not particularly special. But this is the part of the video where I need to start telling you what Tropical Beach actually does. It reads that at the end of your turn, you may draw until you have 7 cards in hand, but that ends your turn. No attacking, none of that. You use the stadium, draw till you got 7 cards in your hand, and then that is it. Your turn is over. And that is great. And this is what makes the difference. Because what I've said about the card being sought after, about the English one being legal for the largest amount of players and not being that easy to get hold of, it's true for every World Championships promo. What is not true is that they are great. And the fact that they printed Tropical Beach for 2 years and then stopped is only pushing the price up higher and higher. Like I've said, the most recent one that sold on eBay was for $300. And I had a look at eBay to see if there was in fact any for sale at the moment, and I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not looking great. There is basically one which is currently being bid on for $100 with 4 days left, and it's a staff version. That's not that's not particularly easy to actually sort out, because it's not going to sit there at $100. You are not going to win that listing for $100. So what happened was that for the first time ever, someone actually used their Worlds promo in their deck. So Ross Cawthorn, different Ross, he played a deck called The Truth. And it was a very complicated deck, but basically you'd attack with Donphan Prime, which is why I loved it. And you'd have Pokemon like Zekrom and Reshiram, big basic Pokemon that did more damage depending on how much damage was on them. And then you would have Reuniclus that would move damage around so that all of your Pokemon were like 1 damage counter away from being KO'd. And then you'd use Blissey Prime to heal all the damage from all of your Pokemon. And then you'd keep going. Your opponent basically couldn't one-hit KO Donphan. And then, you just moved all the damage and healed it, and your opponent lost. It was a great deck. Now, it was very, very slow. And that's where Tropical Beach came in. Because for the first few turns, you wanted to use Tropical Beach just to help yourself get set up. Now, Ross only played 1 copy of Tropical Beach in The Truth, but it opened people's eyes to it. So what happened then was that every slightly slower deck all of a sudden started playing 3 or 4. One prominent example, and there are many examples, I'm just giving you one of them, was Gothitelle. The Gothitelle from Emerging Powers became a very, very popular deck, and it had an ability, Magic Room. As long as it is your active Pokemon, your opponent cannot play item cards from his or her hand. So what you would need to do was just get Gothitelle out, and then you could play a slower game because your opponent was item locked, so it didn't matter that you were playing a bit more slowly. And Tropical Beach helped you get Gothitelle. Later on, and even still in Expanded, people played blocking decks like Wailord EX. Hey, I've got 250 HP, you can't one-hit KO me. I'm then going to start just playing cards like Crushing Hammer to get rid of your energy, and Ace Roller to heal my Pokemon, etc, etc. Max Potion as well. And then what you would do is have Tropical Beach, because Wailord wasn't attacking anyway, and you needed all of your cards for next turn to start getting set up and hurting your opponent. So you would just Tropical Beach at the end of every turn. And that's what made the difference for Tropical Beach. It's not just that it's rare, it's not just that it's only given out at Worlds, it's not just that so many people can only play the English version, it's that it was good. Now, it's only legal and expanded at the moment, though it is still legal and expanded, so it's not quite like it was. But there was a time when it was integral to several of the best decks in the format. And now we're even further on from that, and the card is even rarer. I mean, if we try and look at some other sites to buy it, if you look at TCGplayer.com, they've got the market price at $200 and $300, but they don't have any there for sale, so it's quite difficult to actually try and figure out how true that is. If we go over to Troll and Toad, we can find that the 2011 promo is listed at $300, but again, there's none for sale, so it's hard to actually figure out how real that is. You've got the 2012 listed at $280. You've got the Staff 2011 listed at $315. You've got the Staff 2012 actually listed at $175. But again, that's not even a particularly fair comparison because, well, it's not actually there. There's none to buy. It might be sub $200, but there's none there to actually buy. The fact of the matter is, if you pick up this card for $300, you've got yourself a pretty good deal. Just don't get one with the grey border. Not unless it's Japanese language, it's not signed, and you're Japanese. People do try and scam newer players with this, and it's very, very sad. I mean, a card where a digital version can command upwards of $100, that should jump out to you, frankly. So there we go. One of the more expensive Pokemon cards, certainly in terms of cards that was, quote, readily available, although you had to qualify for Worlds. The price of this will keep dropping if they re-release Tropical Beach, but given that we've had 6 years in a row of Champions Festival, I just don't see it happening. So if you've got Tropical Beach, if you remember Tropical Beach, if you've played with or against Tropical Beach, or if you've just got any questions, chuck it all down in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.